is Kevin Hemingway. I'm the product manager for Synergy Gas at DNVGL. I'd like to talk to you about Hydrotest planning in the natural gas industry. Hydrotest planning is something that is occurring with more frequency around the world, but particularly in North America for safety and regulatory reasons. Now, when it comes to hydrotest planning, the number one rule that we have in place is do no damage. Now, this is so important because we're taking natural gas out of a system and we're replacing it with water for testing purposes. So the number 2 rule in this case is going to be run a valid test. And the way that we run a valid test is that we maintain a minimum pressure, but we do not exceed a maximum pressure. So minimum pressures have to be maintained in order that we can truly get a feel for if there's any leaks in the system, but we can't exceed the maximum pressures because that's where we will violate the number 1 rule, which is don't do any damage to the system. So there are going to be some profound differences in running water through a natural gas system. And typically the way these plans are done is that we use modeling software to achieve these targets. Now, gas modeling software has some differences between water modeling software. One of the first differences is going to be very obvious, and that is with the fluid itself. Water is very heavy, it's non-compressible. Natural gas is relatively light and it is compressible. So the equations are going to be different. And speaking of equations, the pipe equations for the pipes in our system are going to be different as well. There's also a third difference, and that is elevations. Natural gas is relatively light, water is very heavy. So what if there was a way that you could take your natural gas model and convert that over to a water model quickly? Right now, that's mostly a manual process, but if there was a way to flip a switch and replace your fluid of natural gas with water, to replace those natural gas equations with pipe equations, and to bring in elevations very quickly. Because in the natural gas industry, elevations are typically considered okay if you get them within plus or minus 50 feet or maybe 20 meters. But in a water model, that's nowhere near accurate enough. You want a much higher degree of accuracy. And a common way to bring that in is either through a manual process, but a better way is through a GIS. Now, a new feature coming out in Synergy Gas will allow you to do just this. And because we have a tradition of being integrated with GIS information and GIS systems, we already have in place a very quick way to bring in your elevations. So, we're wondering, what tools do you use to do your hydrotest planning?